Latest remarks.
Questo si chiama franco CFA. È la moneta coloniale che la Francia stampa per 14 nazioni africane, alle quali applica il signoraggio e in forza delle quali sfrutta le risorse di questa nazione.
The camel's back has finally been broken. The coup in Niger sent ripples, and it's not just an Afrocentric event. I'm talking about problems. EU is at loggerheads with each other. And of course, the United States of America, they are into this. Let us begin with this. The president of France, Macron, is at loggerheads with the United States government. Why? Well, according to them, they claim that they wanted the United States to join them or keep quiet whilst they invade Niger. Yes. But somehow, the government of America went behind to negotiate with the Nigerians. Why? I'll tell you. You see, the United States of America soon will become a powerhouse for LNG gas, and Europe will need this to power their electricity and to keep them warm during winter. And the major market that the Americans are targeting is Europe. Now, with the chaos happening in Africa, particularly that of Niger, it is going to create a big and huge market for the United States of America. France is frustrated. Macron is frustrated. Well, according to an article written in Germany, and of course this is coming from the German government, they ridicule France, saying that France can only have a seat right at the EU because of their exploitation and parasitic relationship with Africa, particularly those French neo-colonized countries. And you will wonder, why is there this bitter strife between the EU and possibly NATO? I'll tell you and I'll break it down. Well, as you all know, EU for a while now have been having influx of migrants coming in from Libya down into the Mediterranean Sea, and they land in Europe. Now, according to the EU Charter and the United Nations Charter, any migrant or asylum seeker that lands on any EU soil must be granted an asylum, must be reviewed in that EU country. And we all know that Italy and Malta are very close to the Mediterranean. So what does that mean? It means that Italy has a huge influx of migrants, and it is putting a toll on the country and its economy. Of course, majority of those migrants are non-productive. And what do I mean? I'm not saying maybe some of them do not have one or two skills, but they need to have what it takes to fit into the Italian society and also fit into Europe. At times, it takes them a while for them to get themselves connected. Some of them cannot even read and write. Whilst those that can read and write, those that are properly educated, those that have high skill, will not be able to easily penetrate those industries that they want to belong to. Why? Because it is always going to be EU first. So these migrant asylum seekers are left to whatever it is that is available. Now, the EU is accusing France, saying that your policy in these countries are the reason why we are having so much influx of these migrants. And it's so funny that France is even rejecting some of these migrants coming from countries where their policy has left them poor. Of course, this can only be made possible with the support of greedy criminal leaders, or let us call them rulers, in those countries. Let us listen to Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni.
Questo si chiama franco CFA. È la moneta coloniale che la Francia stampa per 14 nazioni africane, alle quali applica il signoraggio e in forza delle quali sfrutta le risorse di questa nazione. Non è prendere gli africani e spostarli in Europa. La soluzione è liberare l'Africa da certi europei che la sfruttano e consentire a queste persone di vivere di quello che hanno.
According to Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia, she said that Africans should be able to settle in their country or countries should there be no parasitic relationship or influence from European countries, particularly France. They're beginning to feel the brunt of it, and this is what resulted into Italy rejecting and refusing a migrant boat that landed on its shores. They refused, they rejected of lives could be lost. Well, somehow there is this ship. It's a French ship, and this French ship had to pull those migrants down to France. And eventually, Macron came out and they started talking, saying that Italy acted inhumanely, saying that Italy breached the EU and the United Nations Charter. Obviously, the Prime Minister responded heatedly but passionately, saying, "We have been handling influx of migrants for a long time and we are overwhelmed. This should be shared equally amongst us." And the reason why they have accepted this is because they know inside of them as a country and as countries that their influence in Africa, either directly or indirectly, is actually resulting to this influx. Of course, if there is nothing much for anyone to do in his country, you will engage in vices, and this could result into terrorism. It could result into war. And war is not only when two countries are at loggerheads with each other, throwing bombs and shooting at each other. You could also be in an economy war. And majority of this influx are actually coming in, going through that hazardous journey as a result of economy war, which obviously these European countries are aware of. And when I talk about exploitation, you might probably do not understand the scope of it. Imagine a gram of uranium found in Niger sold for $200 and $11 is being returned back to the country. Obviously, we know there will be kickbacks, bribes, given to presidents, ministers, and all of that. And the proceeds from these bribes will not be kept in that country totally. 80% of it will be kept in Europe, probably France. France is still gaining back. Why is it that Africans that have opportunity to make a change, why is it that they are so wicked? That is the question. Let us tell ourselves the truth. None of these things would have been possible without the support of wicked rulers in these African countries. Even if Western countries are to manipulate Africa due to the resources that is right there on and in the land, at least they will be able to come together as one to put up a fight, and it will be clear to the world, to everybody, to see that this is parasitic and not symbiotic. And now that Russia is kind of creeping or have crept already into Africa, Africans also need to be extremely careful. Now that the United States of America found a way to alienate the rest of Europe from Russia, it is difficult to do business with them. Obviously, if you are not friends with me and we do not have agreement and we have issues and sanctions, well, it's going to hurt the two parties, particularly if they are powerhouses such as Russia and the rest of Europe. Russia supplies energy, power to the rest of Europe. But with the present condition and situation, which I don't think can be reviewed right now, the rest of Europe definitely will be seeking for ways to get themselves power. Now they are looking at passing pipes through Algeria, Nigeria, Niger, and all of that through the Mediterranean down to Europe. This is the only way, and the second option, apart from trading with America, buying from America, this is the only way that they can achieve all of this. But everything is kind of not looking good at this moment. And at the center of this internal conflict is France.